Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1.
Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today we're going to announce to the world, because you'll never hear this on the liberal media, that Trump is making Canada great again. And there's all sorts of ancillary positive things that Trump has done for Canada just in the last week or two that you'll never ever hear on the biased liberal socialist media. And I'm here to set the record straight and tell you all about the good news. First of all, did you know that Canada really has, it's not just a federal government, it's got 13 provincial governments, well, 10 provinces, 3 territories, but they all have premiers. And the fact that Canada has always had this weird policy of not doing business between the provinces very much. Every premier acts like a little tyrant, a little fiefdom, you know, a little troll controlling his own little area. And so typically, for example, a province like British Columbia, it's been easier for them to do business with Washington State than, say, Alberta or Saskatchewan. That's true, and it's stupid. And that's all coming to an end thanks to Trump. And I'm not seeing too many Canadians going, thank you, Mr. Trump, thank you, President Trump. No, they're acting like Zelensky in the White House. I don't know what that is, but they're doing it. Canada has decided, well, hey, why don't we do business with ourselves? It's kind of like the Jews figured this out. Why do you think the Jews are doing so good? They do business with themselves. Because it comes down to a saying that, you know, I grew up with, many of you have: charity begins at home. So, like a lot of Americans don't travel, they're very inwardly focused. He's teaching Canadians to act like Americans finally. And that's fantastic because, as I just said, charity begins at home. Why shouldn't Canadians just do business with Canadians? So if you were a paramedic or a teacher or you know, a nurse, you couldn't just pick up and leave British Columbia and go to Saskatchewan or Prince Edward Island. Oh, no. Licensing, bureaucracy. Same with if you're running a vineyard. You can't sell your wine to a couple provinces over. No, not unless the premier, you know, allows it. And cuts a trade deal with the other premier of the other provinces. It's been bullshit for decades, and because of the Trump tariff war, it's being fixed. And there is no way that Canadians shouldn't say, thank you, President Trump, because it's finally coming to an end. And it's been stupid. It's like saying, oh, you can do business with your neighbor here on this side of the road, but you can't do business with your neighbor on that side of the road. It's stupid, it's dumb, and the tariff war is making it come to an end. So all these premiers are running around like chickens with their head cut off, and they're finally doing their jobs, which is fantastic, because most of the actual essential work that needs to be done within any province is done by the lower level government workers. Premiers just sit around cutting ribbons, bragging about how they're going to spend your tax money. That's all they do. Finally, they're concerned about Canada. Yeah, and they're finally concerned about doing their job. And I think it's absolutely refreshing. And he's stopping some of the dumb socialist spending. For example, David Eby, the Premier of British Columbia, of course, he was re-elected while I was in Europe. Not my favorite politician. He's a New Democrat, which means he's a self-avowed socialist. And he typically makes little promises like, vote for us if we get if we get into power and form government, we'll give you all $1,000. I've seen that so many times over my life. So many times I wake up, I check my bank account, and I go, gee, why do I have an extra $1,000 here? Oh yes, because of socialism. It's stupid. And whenever I tell my Canadian colleagues that this is dumb and that we can't afford it, they look at me like I'm a crazy Nazi. Well, the chickens have come home to roost, and I was right. So, because of the trade war, Eby had to back down, and he's not spending the $1,000 for every taxpayer in the province. Thank you. Thank you, President Trump, for actually creating policies that make our politicians within Canada actually make better decisions with our money. Another really big thing that's going to save Canadians thousands and thousands of dollars is because of the tariff war, interest rates are coming down. Just a couple days ago, what was it, yesterday? 25 basis points down. A mortgage is cheaper in Canada than it is in the United States of America. Thank you, President Trump. And there are millions and millions and millions of Canadians that have mortgages up for renewal. Mortgages work very different in Canada. They're typically terms, you know, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. Most people typically carry a 5-year term. Well, mortgages coming down because of the Trump tariff war. Yeah, you're gonna save thousands of dollars. Next month, I guarantee you, another 25 basis points. Yes, I don't see Canadians thanking Trump for that. Well, they should be, because Trump is making Canada great again. Oh, did I mention the new Prime Minister in waiting, Mark Carney? Yeah, he's just a bank hack, former head of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada. He doesn't really represent, you know, typical conservative values like I have, but I got to deal with the guy. But the one thing that has happened because of the tariffs, he is eliminating the Trudeau Carbon Tax. It would never, ever have happened without the Trump tariff war. Never. So, what a wonderful, wonderful prize. You know, seriously, carbon tax on everything is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Everything you own was transported by a truck using fossil fuels. We got a shit ton of fossil fuels in Alberta. Alberta's the Texas of Canada. Speaking of fuel, what a wonderful thing that has also happened. The typical Alberta pipeline worker or oil worker, it's making, it's a good paying job. He doesn't have to pay for a stupid EV subsidy. No, not anymore. They ran out of money and they didn't renew it because Trump tariff war. It's fantastic. Now we don't have to pay for some liberal socialist who lives in Yaletown in Vancouver to buy an electric vehicle. No, it's a slap in the face to make Canadians pay these juicy subsidies so that some socialist bean counter can buy an electric vehicle. No, it's brilliant. The tariff war has made everybody panic. You know, the cupboards are bare, and now the premiers and the federal government are actually being fiscally responsible and not wasting money, especially my taxpayer money. It's stupid. And thank you, Mr. Trump. Trump is strangely making Canada great again. And those borders are dead in both directions, so much so that both countries, both US Customs and Canada Customs, if they were smart, they'd start firing some of these people because they're just relaxing in their kiosks. You know, they're playing on their smartphones, reading pocketbooks. Trust me, I've seen it. You know, I pull up to the border. I'm the only one. It's ridiculous. They're chilling. And that's both directions, okay? Now, I'm sure there's some work for them collecting tariffs on both sides of the border, but nonetheless. So you see, it is not all negative. In a strange way, a lot of the BS is being fixed indirectly because of President Trump's policies. So, as I've said, Trump is making Canada great again. And thank you, President Trump. So, as we go forward, I'm also looking forward to all these idiots that weren't living the way they should have, and they're going to complain about the tariffs. Wah, wah, wah. Well, the way I live, you have this much coming in, you spend this much. That way, you always have surplus, what I call FU money. And the more FU money you have, it doesn't matter about tariffs. You can afford it. And I know most of my Republican friends in the United States, they are well heeled enough to absolutely do fine over this tariff war. And the big gift, this is the big gift that Canadians and Americans, and actually people who participate in the global equity markets, in the end, Trump's going to make us all richer because just by happenstance, I happen to be into cash right now because my investment objectives have been fulfilled, and you know, I got some shares in Intel, which is doing good, also thanks to Trump. I bought in around 20 bucks a share. I think today it's at 24 bucks a share. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for that. Well, as we all know, equity markets, they're tanking because they can't take the unpredictability of a global tariff war. So millions of investors like me that have millions of brokerage accounts, we are ready. We are so ready. Thank you, Mr. Trump. I'm ready with my money to prop up the economies and invest. And I've seen it before. I remember the big crash in '87. I remember the dot-com bubble. I remember 9/11. Guess what? This big correction we're having in the stock market right now is going to bounce back. And I'm going to be participating. And thank you again, President Trump, because you're putting money in my pocket eventually. I know it, and the smart money is going to do the same thing. Guarantee it. So are you excited about the bounce that's going to be happening in the equity markets? Because it's a shit show most days on the NASDAQ or the Dow 30. But where there is crisis, there's opportunity. And I see opportunity. And thank you, US taxpayers, because you're not just in a trade war with Canada. Oh no, it's with Europe and all the countries within it, and India, China. It's crazy. And I want to thank all you American taxpayers out there for paying for these tariffs. Now, I know you haven't really affected in your wallet yet because, you know, there's supply lines and the big tariffs are coming on 2nd of April, but it's going to be expensive. But obviously Trump has decided that American families can afford these tariffs. Okay, it's great. Thank you for being a patriot and paying the tariffs so that Trump, among many countries, can make Canada great again. Put your comments down below. Hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Over and out. Still have American liquor.
Yeah.
Sweet. My last chance. Last chance for American booze. Woo! Sure we get. Jack Daniels, maybe. Yeah. See, you can tell the Canadian flags for Canadian products. Okay. Well. American Irish whiskey. Okay, JD it is. What the hell?
Can go to figure out what we've done, what we need to do. Yeah, I got you, I got you, I got you.